What is going on, my Atomic Autoworks friends? So, watch our journey, know that for the last couple years we've been trying a lot of new products and a lot of new techniques. We've changed everything up. So we've been doing for years a lot of vintage and classic vehicles, and we weren't really getting involved in any of the new car stuff, and we kind of wanted to get into that market and see about it and learn about it and tell you about it as we went along. Now that we've been through that journey, we did it, we tried it, and I'm going right back to where we were because I like a lot of the stuff we did before, vehicles, chemicals, products, and everything. But I am going to share with you a lot of the differences and stuff that we've used and we've tried, and we're going to continue to try different things and give you reviews on it. One of the problems that we had is our materials, the products that we use for the restoration market and the custom market exploded. They're so expensive that even our super wealthy clients question it when they look at it to see how much money some of the materials cost. And myself, as well, is I question it all the time. One of the things that we try to do is we implemented doing some pre-owned vehicles, try to help people out, some used car stuff to try to get in that market and get in that field and really get entrenched into the industry again. And doing so, we found we really needed to find more competitive pricing on our materials because some of the primers we use are over 100 times, not 100 times, over 10 times what we pay for some of the chemicals that people use on newer vehicles, collisions, and pre-owned vehicles. So as we went along, we're like looking at it going, man, if you start throwing big dollar materials on a small job, it adds up so fast. And as we went along, we would try different things. And one of the things that we wanted to try was body fillers. So we always used Rage Evercoat body fillers. 125, I think, is the 100, 125 is our go-to. And we also use one of the higher end 3M body fillers, which I don't have that here, so I don't know the part number. And actually the other guys have been using it so much, I haven't been using that much, so I don't even know the part number, but I will get that because we're gonna do a review on that body filler as well, because that actually worked pretty good. And price-wise, the Evercoat stuff that we use is super expensive. It's I can't really say prices on here because everything changes, but if you just Google Rage 100, 125, you'll see how much money it is, and then you can look at the higher end 3M body fillers, and they're probably, $40 or $50, $60 less, which is a lot for a gallon of body filler. So with the used vehicles, even the 3M was too much money because when you're trying to get the prices down so low that we really needed to find another body filler. So we went through and we've been trying them out. And this is one that we just tried out, and I wanted to kind of go over kind of a messy can. Lewis said it's messy because everything sticks to it or something. But this is EGC 57 lightweight body filler. So our normal suppliers come Monday through Friday and we get deliveries. We happened to run out and it was on the weekend, I think, and we needed something cheap that we could do for a really cheap job. I mean, it was just a very low-end job. So one of the paint suppliers that was open had suggested that they have good luck with this, that for the bang for the buck, it's a really good filler. And it is. For the price that it was, I was surprised because it is a large can and you get a lot of body filler for it. But the difference is, to me, which is really hard, and we're going to bring Lewis in a second because he's used this a lot more than I have, but I just got to use it for the first time, and I feel it is a lightweight, inexpensive filler. Things that are happening is it takes a lot longer to dry. We gave it probably twice, 3 times the time our normal filler is to dry. And when you go to sand it, it clogs the paper up a little bit. It doesn't sand well. As you're sanding it, it's not really cutting, which was weird. The big thing that I found was when we primered it, it absorbs a lot. Like, so that you could actually see the high build primer kind of sucking into it like a sponge. So we let it dry a lot long. I let it dry a lot longer and put extra coats on it to make sure that we got it completely covered and sealed. So that's a little worrisome for me. But again, if you're looking apples to apples, this body filler is 70% cheaper price-wise than the 3M, and it's 100% less than the Rage 100, 125 that we use all the time. So price-wise, if you're looking for an inexpensive body filler, you get a lot. There's a lot here, and if you want to sand a little bit more, a little longer dryer times and that stuff. And what's hard for us is when we're doing the used car stuff, it has to be in and out. You can't, time is money. You can't say, okay, I'm gonna let this one sit for an extra couple hours to make sure it's really hardened up and dried. That car has to be in primer, sanded down, and ready for paint in hours. So it's a really fast-paced thing. So for us, it's a really tough balance because you want to use the more expensive body fillers, but the price is so much money. But then it comes back to the time. What's your time worth? And for me, to sit there and watch body filler dry, I'd rather have the better stuff. Let's get Lewis in here because he's done this more, and he's still feeling a little under the weather as well. We've had the COVID here. But Lewis, so what do you went through 3/4 of a bottle of this stuff. So what are you thinking?
For a cheap job, it's great. For quick in and out, low end stuff, it's perfectly fine. For what we're doing here, I would not recommend it. So for like the MG, due to never working with the brand, I'm not sure how well it will work over time. But for something that's going to be a quick in and out, someone's daily driver that they just need to look half decent or something, it will work. But me personally, not a fan of it.
Not a fan. Yeah, so you were at the same issues that I was just saying.
Yeah, the constant pinholes, took forever to dry, never going through the excessive amount of sandpaper with sanding it like you saw with the Silverado we did.
Yep.
Not a fan of it.
Yeah, and that's the hard part is you really got to balance out. And it's kind of funny because yesterday we had a salesperson come in who was a very funny salesperson. And he was trying to sell stuff based off of price and saying that his body fillers that he has, he knows they're not as good as the ones that we use, but they're a better price. And his reasoning was, yes, his body filler has a lot of pinholes and a lot of different things like that. So you could use a 2-part putty. Oops, that wasn't me passing gas. I stepped on a bolt. So you could use a 2-part putty on top of that. So now you're adding a different chemical that probably brings it to almost the same price as you would if you bought a higher end body filler. And you have more sanding to do and more process to do. And that's the one thing that I noticed too with this, massive amounts of pinholes. Even when you paddle it really good and try to get all the air out of it and then put it on, it's such a lightweight filler that it's kind of aerated. And then when you go, so you would need to put either a really tight wipe on there, which I don't think you're going to tight wipe this stuff really good. And that's where you put a hard squeegee or paddle. We use the metal body filler spreaders. So you put this on really hard and you push it across and you're forcing everything in there. I don't think this would even do that well. But what's funny is like with the Rage 100, 125 part number, it's usually most of the time, and sometimes you get a bad batch of it, but for the most part, it lays out so good your first thing, you're not even worried about pinholes, and you can take and mix that up and do a tight wipe and fill in all of your pinholes with that, and so you're not adding more products and more procedures and more stuff. Here's an honest review. We're not knocking the product at all because everything has its place in this industry, and we're actually going to be doing a couple other reviews too coming up, which I actually, we had a clear coat that we're using that's for the used cars that was very inexpensive. SC300.
SC300 from PPG.
Yes, yeah. So that one was actually a fluke. We found it because, again, I had to paint something on a Saturday and I forgot to check and we had no clear coat for our speed clear and we needed it for a used vehicle. So this same part supplier happened to be open and they did recommend this clear coat, which I actually liked it better than our current speed clear for certain things, but because of the price, you do worry about longevity. And what's hard is everything you're sold now, they tell you the same thing. What do you care? Because once you get it done, you'll never see that vehicle again because it's gone. And that's everything we're not about. I want, like our vehicles, I've always prided myself in, you give your vehicle to your grandchildren and pass it down through generations, and it looks just as good in 40 years as it did when we did it. And that's kind of why I'm in this business and why I want to have Lewis learn the right way and see that different stuff. Because for me, when you're sold something based off of it's cheap, it's quick, and you'll never see it again, you know, it's weird.
We get a lot of repeat customers.
Yeah,
Don't want the customer to come back in a year saying that their paint's flaking off like a lot of the newer white cars.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's a good thing that Lewis just brought up with the paint peeling because we're going to be doing a couple of vehicles. We're going to do the truck, and basically the clear coat's peeling off of it. And I want to go through and show you reasons why that happens and show you a lot, because that's point in case. Now we have a vehicle that for a couple extra dollars 20 years ago, they could have put the better clear coats on there, done it with a couple extra layers, and we wouldn't be having this problem today where it's flaking off. And that's kind of what it's passing the buck down the road, and you get to see that. So if you're trying to pass the buck down the road, you have a car that's very inexpensive that you just want to look a little bit better, like Louis had just said, where you have a lower price vehicle, you want it to look good, you don't want to be embarrassed of it. There's a place for stuff like this, because you could get through it and have your car look good and maybe last a few years and look decent versus spending a fortune on it. So everything has its place. And we're going to show you that on some of the other videos. So please, like, stay tuned, like, share, follow, subscribe, ring the bell for future videos. Ring that bell.